And then last week, everybody got windburn in that game with the Rams. So we haven't seen that part of him. He and Bernard were special for that period of time they played together last year. It's also an adjustment for Terrell Bernard.
Yeah.
He got used to playing with Dorian Williams there. I don't know what you think. I'd like to see a little more Dorian Williams on the field this week.
All right, welcome back to the Buffalo Plus channel presented by Connors and Ferris. Mike Catalana, I am Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We are here in Detroit. I don't even know if we're allowed to be here, but this is cool.
General Motors here. Jenna, 2024 Chevrolet Corvette. Merry Christmas. Dan and I decided to chip in, and we got a picture of it for you.
You're so generous.
That's us. It's nice down here, though, right? It's
Yeah.
the home of General Motors, the home of U.S. automakers, and it's freezing cold outside.
Yeah, so we actually already recorded this video outside, and then it was so cold and their audio got messed up. So we're doing this again, so please enjoy. So we have it really all together of the 5 players to watch. So let's start with
Defense. We are going to start with Jamarcus Ingram.
Yes.
He is playing at corner. He's going to start in this game because, of course, yeah, we'll disregard. Jamarcus Ingram's going to start because Rasul Douglas is out. He has, I believe, what is the phrase? He has earned the right to be this guy. He's been earned the right to be the third corner. The third corner means when somebody's out, you're the starter.
Yeah.
And he's going to get a big opportunity and a big responsibility in this game against the Lions.
I'm excited to see what this will look like, and we talked about how the NFL is a meritocracy and you have to earn the right to be out on the field, and I think this is a perfect example of that. While I expect Kaiir Elam to get some time, I also think at the same moment, Kaiir Elam is a former first-round pick. Jamarcus Ingram is a undrafted free agent out of Buffalo, but Sean McDermott talks about how you have to have players that want to be out there, that put the work into being out there, and Jamarcus Ingram is someone that I'm curious to see how it will go for him because he's in a spot where you would think for a lot of players it would be Kaiir Elam over him.
So Kair's got a guy on the one side who was drafted in his same draft in Christian Benford, 6th rounder, who's been a starter from day one, and now it's an undrafted guy. But Kair's going to need to play. And I thought Sean made that point about, he was asked the other day, is it something that Kaiir did not do? And he was like, well, some of that, but it's also more about what Jamarcus Ingram has done to earn the spot or earn the opportunity to play a lot more. He got in the game when Rasul got hurt the other night in Los Angeles. Now he's going to get the start, so we'll see how he does.
And what makes this all the more interesting is the fact that Taylor Rapp as well as DeMar Hamlin are both questionable to play. So this is going to be a Bills banged up secondary. We'll have to see what that all looks like. But another player I will be watching for is Matt Milano. We've talked so much on this channel about how the ramp-up process works, how we have been kind of waiting to see him take some of those steps that we've seen Matt Milano take in the past. I want to see some of the explosiveness that maybe we haven't seen in these last couple of games.
You see the name Matt Milano, you see the number 58.
Yeah.
In your mind, you're like, playmaker, star player, all-pro level linebacker. And you realize when you see him out on the field, I think it's less about the injuries because this was the bicep. I think it's more about just he hasn't had the reps.
Yeah.
He hasn't been out there. 5 total games until this ramp up and back on the field. One of them he played slipping and sliding in the snow.
Yeah.
And then last week, everybody got windburn in that game with the Rams. So we haven't seen that part of him. He and Bernard were special for that period of time they played together last year. It's also an adjustment for Terrell Bernard. He got used to playing with Dorian Williams there. I don't know what you think. I'd like to see a little more Dorian Williams on the field this week.
We've definitely talked about that. I think Dorian Williams has played himself into a guy that you want to see out there because you've seen some of those flashes. Matt Milano, I know it's going to take some time for him to get back, hopefully, to Matt Milano form. But what makes it all the more interesting is the fact that, chemistry is a piece of this puzzle, too. And like you mentioned, I just think right now, with the limited reps that Milano's gotten to this point, Terrell Bernard and him are trying to get all together on the same page. So maybe we'll see a step forward in that process coming up tomorrow.
All right. Bobby Babich and Sean do not go over their game plan with me, okay?
But they do with me.
In the past, they've only very briefly used 3 linebackers on the field, right? That's not the case. I mean, we know Taron Johnson needs to be on the field for this team.
Yeah.
Which, as you guys know, when he's playing that nickel slot spot, that's usually 2 linebackers on the field. Honestly, I'm throwing one out here, but I don't know if it would necessarily be a bad thing to have 3 linebackers on the field the way this team runs the football and the way they pass in the intermediate passing lanes. That doesn't mean Taron Johnson's out. Look, this is just me throwing this out there because Taron Johnson can play. Maybe Taron Johnson plays a little more of a sort of if they're one high safety. I'm just trying to think of ways to have Taron Johnson on the field, or maybe in some early downs, 3 linebackers, because you know the Lions are going to run it.
Yeah.
Power offensive line, 2 outstanding backs, and the Bills are going to need to tackle, and they're going to need bigger athletes on the field.
That is going to be, I think, the biggest challenge for this Bills team is the run defense, and especially with how good the Lions have been running the ball, and then also how well their offensive line just sets everything up for them. And that's why the guy I also want to watch is Ed Oliver. Kind of got a little bit called out. I mean, Sean McDermott was asked point blank after that Rams loss, are you getting enough from Ed Oliver? And I think for a lot of fans, it's tough because for his job, I think it's not always about the stats, but it's more so what he can do to open up other guys. But when you look collectively, it's pretty obvious that last week and in weeks past, they have not gotten enough pressure.
To whom much is given, much is expected, right? Isn't that the Bible?
I don't know, but I do know like McDermott being like heavy is the head that wears the crown, talking about Josh getting a lot of money and a lot of credit. Ed Oliver also just is last year coming off a contract extension.
Yeah. I mean, you get paid to be a disruptor. I don't get caught in the stats like Jenna said.
Pay me to be a disruptor.
That's what you always say, right? When you look at this channel, you go, Jenna, disruptor.
Definitely not someone else who's not here today.
Oh, we were just talking about Dan is like, he's been out of the lineup. He is ready to, there is no ramping up for Dan Fates. When he's back, he will be back. But Ed Oliver, you know, I think they're trying to, extra motivation. They talk about urgency. Look, Ed showed it last year.
Yeah.
He played really, really well. He earned that pay increase, and then he played over the pay increase last year. They've been sort of calling him out. Now, Terrell Bernard did say, it's a lot goes on Ed. We have to be better at the linebacker spot. And that's where I was starting to think, like, those two aren't as in sync as much as they need to be.
Yeah.
Gap protection, right?
Gap integrity.
But from the linebackers, they need to make the plays. They need to be in the right spot. But the guys up front. And Dwan Smoot coming back.
That, I think, will be huge.
Yeah, he can set the edge. He can give them some pressure. They needed both of those things last week, and they didn't get them.
All right, let's go to the other side of the ball because Keon Coleman will be back in this game. I think for a lot of Bills fans, they were waiting to see when he would come back. Obviously missed 4 games with the wrist injury. Rookie season, Josh was asked about the rookie wall and is that real? And do you think there was an opportunity for Keon to learn when he was out of the lineup? And I think Josh was pretty honest where he's like, yeah, I think that it does take time and maybe the reps to the side of what he was doing in practice could be helpful. I think for a lot of Bills fans, they're just ready to see what Keon can do on the field again and just what that is for the entire Bills offense.
I think it's got to be fascinating for a player to come in like Keon did as a rookie, high draft pick, go out there and play.
Yeah.
And he's never really looked out of place.
No.
But when you do sit back and you watch, I do believe there's an opportunity to see some stuff.
Yeah.
Now, he was asked about that multiple times. I think our friend Thad Brown from Channel 8 tried about 5 times. I told him, good try, good effort. Keon was having none of it. And I was thinking, like, I'm thinking, Keon, you may notice that on the field. He's also a guy who wants to play with confidence, and he's sort of in that mode of like, nope, mental reps, everything about the same. But I do think he's going to notice it, whether he tells us or not, which is his business.
Yeah.
I think when he gets out on the field, I think he has probably seen some stuff. And I think he adds an element to this offense. Go up and get it. The Lions, secondary, especially the safeties, very aggressive. So on his side, and maybe even Amari Cooper, I mean, to sound simple, but a little on those hook routes, and then he takes off, a little up and out and go. I think the Bills are going to take some shots downfield on the Lions. I think if they can get time, and this D-line for the Lions has been beaten up.
Yeah.
Aiden Hutchinson ain't out there. I think the Bills may take some shots down the field.
I think, too, you can kind of use that aggressiveness from the Lions secondary to your own advantage of, like, getting them out of position and being able to make the big plays and then keeping them honest the rest of the game. So that is something we'll have to wait and see. But I also think Amari Cooper's coming off his best game with the Bills, almost 100 yards. So there's progression there. We'll see what Keon being added back into the mix can do for just the entire offense.
How do you like the dramatic music I brought in? Can you hear that? Can you hear
It's
that? in the background?
crescendoing as we're talking about our final player,
Yeah, that's it.
and that would be James Cook.
Yeah, you know, James Cook is always that guy, and sometimes I always almost believe that it's not really just James Cook. It's James Cook and Ray Davis and Ty Johnson. When this team is running the ball, and I don't even mean huge numbers. The numbers lie last week because it was Josh Allen running the ball,
Yeah.
and he was just wild
Spectacular.
running the ball. I think they need to have that in this game. I think they need to play a physical game. I think they need to maintain the ball, but more importantly, get down the field and score. And they can't. This also falls on the defense because last week the defense fell apart early. They were behind, and the running game, except for Josh doing Josh things, was pretty much gone. I think if you see James Cook getting the carries, Ray Davis getting the carries, Ty Johnson carries, catching the ball too, I think this offense has a lot more to offer than in a different way than what they showed last week when they still put 42 points on the board.
Also that means the Bills are still in this game.
Yep.
If James Cook is still in the game running the ball, the Bills just defense or run offense in general is out there because let's be real, last week they went away from it because they were down 17 points at multiple times throughout the game. So I want to see James Cook get involved. We know when the Bills offense is at its best, it's because they're being effective in running the ball, and James Cook is a big piece of that. So James Cook, we'll see, but those are our 5 players to watch tomorrow in Detroit.
Yeah, look, the Lions twice this year have scored in the 50s.
Wow.
And they had 47 at the JV team called the Dallas Cowboys. And that was in Dallas. They can pile them up, and they don't care. Like, I think they had 40-plus in the first half against the Jags. I'm not saying they're doing this with the Bills. I'm saying this is a team that when they get going, they pile up the points. And so defense needs to come to play. Offense needs to be sharp. And this game is there for the Bills because as good as the Lions are, 11 in a row, they could be vulnerable just because it happens. And it seems to happen to everybody. Let's see what happens tomorrow.
I love this stadium. Ford Field is beautiful. The home crowd advantage is real, but it's going to be a fun game. And a reminder, we have all your post-game coverage on the Buffalo Plus YouTube channel. For Mike Catalana, I'm Jenna Cottrell. What?
One quick thing, a shout out to Josh
And Justin.
and Justin
Yeah.
from
Those Sonic.
from Delta Sonic. Josh gave me the heads up. He's a Buffalo Plus guy, and he's rooting for the Bills today. And I told him we were on the way to Detroit, and I wanted to make sure we shouted out to Josh.
Thank you, Josh. Thank you, Justin.
Yep.
And thank you, everyone, for watching. For Mike Catalana, I'm Jenna Cottrell. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and share. We'll catch you next time here after the game with our post-game thoughts. But for now, thanks for watching Buffalo Plus, presented by Connors and Ferris from Detroit, folks.